Welcome, everyone. It's another afternoon on the couch. We're going live. I made a little announcement on YouTube. I didn't have a chance to go and make social media rounds to tell you all that I'm here, but welcome back. Today, we will talk about, as usual, wellness, including spirituality. I'll read a little excerpt from our book, Jesus Calling for Medical Professionals by Sarah Young. I'll give you an update on my sleep. I finally made it to my primary care appointment. We'll talk about that. I have a bunch of, let's see, 4 skincare products to share. We'll talk about weight loss. I'll give you a social media tip relating to LinkedIn. We'll talk about the latest in the virtual preceptor shop, the Melanin Initiative, what's new this week, including the first panel that we've ever had that included a doctor, a nurse practitioner, and a physician associate. Our newest episode, which dropped today with Sade M, an LPN turned ICU RN. We dropped her 73 questions video, so we'll talk about that and what we have planned in the future with her. About her ICU experience in particular. We'll talk about the DMV Dermatology MPPA group, and of course our new sister group starting in Atlanta, Georgia. The main topics for today is going to be the new Mahogany Telederm nurse internship. I'm so excited to share that with you and how it can help you get dermatology experience and boost up your resume CV. We will talk about working through nursing school. That's been one of the questions that you have all asked, and so we'll address that. And then upcoming events for diversity in dermatology and DMPs of color. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Dr. Kimberly Madison. I'm a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner, and I use social media to share my life, to create it as a living case study. So much of what we do when it comes to entrepreneurship, even being a provider, balancing out our clinical training and experience with our personal life and development is not in a textbook and it's not part of your curriculum. And so I'm just here as your virtual preceptor, sharing and mentoring you through social media. I do create opportunities to work together and in person, and we'll get into that today. So if you don't fit any of those categories, you're not a nurse, you're not an NP, you're not interested in dermatology or entrepreneurship, but you know someone who might be, please share my information with them. Ask them to follow me. I'm on every social media platform except Twitter and Threads. But yeah, the best place to reach me would be on the Mahogany Dermatology blog. And yeah, they should follow, like, and subscribe. So every week when I go live right here on YouTube, I should be posting this on LinkedIn. Then they can be notified when I go live. I'm trying to do better with having a set time. I think Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern will work because right before this, I have a weekly standing meeting with my family. And so we're going to I've been talking about this all year, and I think this is probably a good time slot for me. And so let's see how this works. So, like I said, I offer mentorship through this. And so we don't delve so much into clinical practice because if you keep going to class, if you keep going to clinical, if you keep going to work, you're going to get lots of that exposure. Eventually, we will talk a little bit more about clinical, primarily through the upcoming virtual grand rounds that we have coming in the new year. But I really use this platform to support you as the provider, the clinician, because so much of what you learn in school and in training and orientation, the center is the patient. We pride ourselves on offering patient-centered care, but who's caring for you, right? And so that's why I create network and community so that you have that support, so you can have those conversations, get those resources, vent if that's something you need, get advice, just be in tune with what else is going on in your profession as it relates to living outside of those clinical walls, right? So much happens outside of that setting. And even within the setting that you might not be able to have either the connections or the confidence or the know-how on how to navigate your work setting, and of course, home life, what that looks like when you're not taking care of patients. So hopefully you get something out of this. I share my life as it goes each week. But also more and more that I hear from you all ask a lot of questions, really great questions. And so now I'm using this opportunity to answer those questions in a more broad setting so that more people can benefit from those answers. Because one thing I learned is that whatever question you have, there's usually a bunch of other people who have the same question. hands down. So if you're a student, that's some of the best advice I ever received, was not to be afraid to ask questions. You're going to hear it all over and over and over in your clinical setting as a nurse in particular, to always ask questions, because someone else always has the same question. And so because we take care of other people, it's very important that we take care of ourselves. And so I was just grooming the dog, so now I have to groom myself. So it's always important that we start these conversations off with a wellness. And so, as I mentioned, this is our book reading. My mom gave me this book a year ago, Jesus Calling for Medical Professionals by Sarah Young. So I have added this component to the video. So let's get started. So this is dated for the 29th. It is a daily devotional. And so the title is Learn to Let Go. This is a time in your life when you must learn to let go of loved ones, of possessions, and of control. In order to let go of something that is precious to you, you need to rest in my presence, where you are complete. Take time to bask in the light of my love. As you relax more and more, your grasping hand gradually opens up, releasing your prized possession into my care. You can feel secure even in the midst of cataclysmic changes. Through awareness of my continual presence, the one who never leaves you is the same one who never changes. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. As you release more and more things into my care, remember that I never let go of your hand. Herein lies your security, which no one and no circumstance can take away from you. Um, and so now I'm going to read two scriptures. The first one comes from the book of Psalms, chapter 89, verse 15. Blessed are those who have learned to acclaim you, who walk in the light of your presence, O Lord. Now we have Isaiah chapter 41, verse 13. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. And the last one is from Hebrews, one of my favorite chapters, one of my favorite books, chapter 13, verse 8. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Amen. So that's this. So let's move into sleep. So since I saw you the last time, I've gotten, was it 3? No, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 nights of 6 hours of sleep or more. More meaning maybe 6.5. So that's great. Happy about that. If you're new here, I've been trying to improve my sleep. I was averaging about 4 hours of sleep. When I was at the bedside, that was 6. I'm trying to get back to 6. I think that'll be really good. And then I recently listened to some people who know a lot more about, who were talking about the quality of sleep. And it was just a really good reminder about how important sleep is when it comes to stress, hormones, weight loss, your skin, mental clarity. And so it's a really good reminder. And so I've been trying to see if I can get even more than 6, and certainly trying to be really disciplined about going to bed at a certain time. So I'm just keeping you updated on that. I finally made it to my primary care doctor. So I was supposed to see her in January. We're coming up on my anniversary, my 1-year anniversary as a working NP, because I've been an NP for 5 years. But this was my first NP job. And so we're coming up on that anniversary, which I don't know if I want to talk about that today. Let's do that next week. Let's do NP 1-year anniversary. Because I actually just had my performance eval at work. And so, yeah, we can get into that too next week. And so, yeah, so in January, I was really just on my own for about 2 months at that point. And so it was a lot. And so and even my schedule wasn't that consistent. My productivity was long and slow. And so being able to schedule appointments and knowing for sure I'll be available at that time wasn't happening. And so before this, like I said, I was at the bedside. So that was working 3 nights a week for 10 years at night. And I had been on the West Coast for the last couple of years. And so in the last year, I've made that transition to daytime, 5 days a week, certainly with much more responsibility, and had a lot of anxiety at that time. Yeah, just trying to get everything balanced and still having all the things I have on the side going. And so it was just really tough. And then when I finally started to see some improvement in my productivity and I changed my schedule around so I could front load my week and have the end to kind of have more of an admin day. So now I was finally starting to see I think I started seeing the dentist first, and I made it to the eye doctor eventually, and my dermatology PA. But my PCP appointment took forever to get around to, and then I finally booked so then I started orienting people in March. Then I had a couple trips I had to go on. So then finally I had time in June, but then they canceled me. Then it took until Friday to get an actual appointment. So I went, my doctor is one of my previous preceptors, and my lab work's it's already been coming in. I think there's one thing left. And so we can go over that next week too. I was going to go over it today, but that's a bit much because of everything else we have to talk about. But so far I'm happy, and I realized how much anxiety I had over that, and how much I was worried about that. But we'll get into that next week. But it does coincide with weight loss. So on the Melanin Initiative Podcast, which is a podcast that I co-host with some friends of mine, Alicia and Geraldine. Those links are in the description box. And it's a health literacy podcast primarily to break down language into information that the public can understand, give them the language and the confidence to navigate the healthcare system, ask the right questions, and advocate and take care of themselves, right? But along the way, we've also been developing our professional arm. And there we elevate the voice of nurses, we bring awareness and attention to all the career options in healthcare, and we show off the expertise of everyone who's on the healthcare team and the opportunities that are in particular outside of patient care, and ways that you can leverage your knowledge and experience to improve our practice, the industry, patient outcomes, and access to care and information. So over there, in May, I think, or this summer sometime, we released an episode on weight loss, and we're going to be doing a before and after. All three of us are embarking or have already started embarking on some changes in our life that we hope has an impact on our weight. And so we're going to be filming that episode in 2 weeks, and then we'll film the follow-up in the spring, and we'll just air the whole thing at one time, and you'll find out exactly what we're doing at that time. So stay tuned for that. We're not going to share the details of what we're doing in particular, but what we would like is that if it's been something on your mind, to join us in this journey. Whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you want to improve, in 6 months, what would you like to say? I did that. Over the last 6 months, I did this, and this is what I accomplished. And so, yeah, we welcome you. And share your stories. And if you do that, we can bring you on the show and you can talk about it. So I think so let's talk about the skincare. So all these products, some of these, you know what I was going to do? I was going to finally do this teeth whitening thing. I was going to do it while I was talking to you all. You can see it's still not opened, but maybe today's the day. So when I saw my derm PA 2 weeks ago, I bought a new bottle of my retinol, and this is by It's Clinical. It's 1, the concentration. And I haven't had any problems since we started this over the summer. And so, yeah, we just renewed it. And I still have the old one. So considering I've had that one since June or July, whenever I last saw her, I would say it lasts pretty long. So if you're new to skincare, this is considered medical grade skincare. I have heard some PhD people say there's no such thing. That's not an area I'm an expert in, so I'm not going to talk about that at the moment, but they call it medical grade skincare. And the concentration is usually higher than what you can get over the counter. You should start over the counter when you're new to creating routines and being disciplined to make sure you're going to, when you do things over the counter, it's cheaper. This way, if you're not going to stick with it, you don't waste too much money. But certainly when you do start getting into upping your regimen, the price ups with that. It doesn't have to, but typically it will. And so sometimes you're concerned like, oh, I'm spending so much money. At least it's good to hear that money does go a long way, because with most products that I can think of at the moment, a little bit goes a long way. We're usually recommending a pea-sized amount, a really small, a thin layer. And so it does go a long way. You still want to be mindful of the expiration date. And so that I purchase. And so through attending either in-person or virtual events, I do receive free products sometimes. And so maybe a month ago. I got this from La Roche. This is their Effaclar salicylic acid acne treatment. It's 1.5% salicylic acid. Oh, it does have glycolic and niacinamide. And then La Roche makes I've talked before, they have a spring water that you can purchase. They usually provide, when they give you samples, like this is a full size sample. Well, it's not really a sample, it's the full size. They usually accompany it with their spring water. At least they have most of this year to try to promote that. And there is a physical lab in Europe that you can actually go to where they get the spring water. So this, even though the bottle's blue, the serum is clear. Anyway, I don't have a lot of acne, but last month I had a few pimples popping up like right there in the corner. They were pretty persistent, and this came right in time. And so I used it maybe like 2 days, maybe 3, not long, and it cleared up. So I'm a huge fan. The only thing, so then it's great because I really don't get acne. Look how much. I mean, it's really a lot. I think it would probably expire before I even get through the whole thing. But it worked really well. But that was what I would consider mild acne. Certainly, if you have something moderate or severe, it might not be sufficient. Then this is the newest one that I have. They're vitamin C, and I've used this one before. I've bought this one before over the counter. I wasn't a big fan because it really got a lot of buildup around the top. I just wasn't a big fan. But you know what? I am going to use this. Right now I'm still using Matter of Fact, which I did talk about a couple months ago when I first purchased it. And that's really been going a long time to my surprise. So I don't know how long when that one's going to run out. But when it does, I'm just going to switch to this and use it. Take advantage of the cost there. And then the last one that they sent is this one, which I don't think I have tried this one. I have quite a few of their Anthelios sunscreens. This is considered their clear skin sunscreen, oil-free, won't cause breakouts, dry touch, which I don't know. I guess that's like a matte finish. Unlike what now I have on Coats, which is not a matte finish. It gives you glow and shine. When I'm at work, they always say you're sweating a lot. And it gets all over my white coat. I really need to get a black one. And the SPF on this is 60. And this is a chemical sunscreen. That's probably why it's so clear. I use and recommend mineral. But when I get products like this, I will use them on my body. And actually, it's a nice finish. I feel like all these Anthelios ones have a nice finish. I haven't really seen one that I wasn't crazy about. What I will say, though, is even like when we do these reviews, even me, right? I do these reviews, I come on like this. It's just me sitting. But because I wear these on my body, especially when I'm going running, what happens is this eventually does get a white cast. It cakes up right around like my elbows where they're bent. And so then it's all white. And so if you want to wear sunscreen and it's to be out in public and maybe people facing, that might not be a good bet. And so it just made me think when people do reviews, it's not a really thorough review if you don't do it when it's raining on your face and you see those streaks going down, or if you're running or sweating or working out. You know what I was going to talk about, because I'm in the middle of packing. And so I'm probably going to pack this up before I see you next week. So I just want to share from Diversity in Dermatology. I was in the 2023 cohort for the Achieve program. And at the end of every year, we invite all the participants to come to our conference. And you get recognized, you get a pin, and you get this beautiful certificate. And so I just ran across this the other day. We'll talk more about the Achieve program next week because we've been getting so many questions, which is great. And so I just want to answer them here, which I have done a video on the Achieve program here. Certainly, if you look back in my video collection, you'll find that. But these are some flyers that I created for our games. We had a little video card game that people had to like match in order to win prizes and raffles. And then this was for another prize that we had. Isn't that super cute? And then we had, they made big posters for this. So these were blown up. And it was just so cool to see something that I made be like something I could hold. And so, yeah, remember your talents can be used in a multitude of ways. Okay, so let's get into it. So let's talk about social media and LinkedIn. So if you're creating a LinkedIn page, so first of all, you should have a LinkedIn page. It's the most recommended social media platform for healthcare professionals. Yes, people will ask you about your LinkedIn page. You can find jobs, fellowships, networking opportunities. It's all scholarly information, professional. Everyone's really been really professional on the platform that I have seen. You're not going to be inundated with pictures and entertainment that take up all your time, and 2 hours later you haven't been productive. So I highly recommend it, and it's something you can absolutely do today. You start your page, put your professional name and credentials on there. Use ChatGPT to ask you to help create your about section, however many words. Let's say you want write a 250 to 500 word summary about me, include these things. Whatever it is you want them to include, whatever you want people to know about you when they read your page. And that can be done in less than 30 seconds. Then you're going to copy and paste that over to LinkedIn. If you're I use the free Chat GPT. Whenever it gives the result and you hit their copy button, maybe I should stop hitting their copy button. They have like a little copy icon. It always has like the plus sign and the asterisk. And I usually take it over to Word and then I remove those using the find and replace all feature on the edit drop down. So then you can copy that over to wherever you're trying to put it. But you know what? I need to copy the text itself, like copy manually instead of using their automatic feature. And then I'll report back, see if that makes a difference. But anyway, all of that can be done within a minute. And then you'll have it filled out. And then if you want to include like schools that you've been to or attending, some people put where they've worked, positions that you hold or have held. You can link to publications. I have seen people put their resume, at least in the feed. I don't know if they post it on their page. So then you're going to put a nice professional picture. There's a place where you can do like a banner behind your face. I don't know if you can pick solid colors or not, because I have like one that I designed. And so that's the simplest thing that can be done today. And then have that available when you're out networking so you can tell people about it. I use a digital business card. I use Blink. And let's see, let me put that down here. This way when I'm out and about, I give that, it's a QR code that I've talked about before. And you'll put that on there so when you meet people, they can go automatically to your page. First of all, they'll copy your contact and you'll get an email saying that you have a new contact. Then you can save their contact. They can even put where you met, what time, so you can remember. On Blink, same thing, professional photo. You can put a picture behind your face. No, it's just your photo. There's a QR code at the top, your face, and then a list of whatever you want people to know. So your name, your credentials, email, your calendar to set up meetings, link to your LinkedIn page, your YouTube page, your business website, whatever you want. You can have one separate for your business, but that's how you can be most readily available to share your LinkedIn page. There's another app called I think Hi Hello. That's another one that's kind of like Blink. I haven't used it. I've seen other people, I've met them and that's what Hi Hello. That's what it is. So let's put that one down here. And then you'll be more than ready to start networking. And the really big key when it comes to LinkedIn or anytime you're out networking is not just to save someone's information, but to send a message right then. Hey, great meeting you tonight at the Diversity in Dermatology conference. Hey, I can't wait to connect with you as soon as we get back from the DMPs of color conference. Something so that when you look back at your log, you'll see like, oh, this is where I know the person from, and they won't forget you. And then and maybe those, and depending on that connection, maybe that actually starts a conversation link, and it leads to actually a meeting and a partnership and all those other things. But it's not going to happen if you're not intentional. Um, so I had a LinkedIn page for the podcast, and I don't remember, but I guess I created it like a regular personal page. And that was earlier this year. And then 2 weeks ago, we found out that it needs to be a page. So now we've been in the process of setting up a new page. That's a business profile. And so make sure if you're starting a business and you want to do one for your business, first you have to create your personal page. And then there's an option. So let's say your personal one is a profile, just to make the distinction. So you have your personal profile, which has your name and all the things I just went through. And then there's a button on there where you can click on create page or add page. And then that's where you'll have like your profession, and you can pick like what kind of page you want. And then over there is where you can actually set up your page. And then when you want to send things or repost things, it gives you the option if you want it to come from your personal page or your um, business page. And that part sucked. They had to start all over because our producer has been phenomenal in helping us grow the previous one. So we've had to shift over, and so she's been working kind of extra to do that. But it's been a great lesson, and certainly now it's one I can share with you to make sure you don't make the same mistake. But it's certainly going to be easier to manage because everything's under one account. And so in that regard, certainly it's a lesson learned. The more problems you have, the better you become at problem solving. And so it's just how you look at it. And so now especially if you are ever going to get help and helping manage your page, it makes it easier for that person to have everything there. And for me, the timing is really good because now that she's got the show really under her belt really well, I'm going to be adding on more task for the business side. And so to have everything in one place is just going to be a lot easier for her. So that's my social media tip for today. And then I was just listening to somebody and they had said something. I said, oh, that's a good one. But yeah, so because even your business page, you can have a newsletter over there, which we do just to keep people in the loop. Something else you can talk about. You can link in your previous, if you do like, our podcast, you can link in your old guests, stay engaged with them. Because once you start working with people and they're your guests, now they're really part of your marketing. Every time they go out and encounter people, they can, first of all, something they can put on their CV. So then it's a talking point. When they're out about networking, they can talk about the show. They can talk about their experience. They could say, hey, you'd be a great guest for this show I was on. Let me refer you. So staying engaged with them, letting them know what you have going on makes it easier for them to keep you at the top of their mind. And when they do talk about the show and the experience, they'll be up to date on wherever you are in the growth of your platform. So let's talk about the virtual preceptor shop. The newest additions are the Dermatology Nurse Practitioner Starter Kit. That is just a beginner's guide into how you can start learning about dermatology, whether you're interested in medical, surgical, or cosmetic, both textbook recommendations as well as in-person and virtual training. Some of those are virtual training opportunities, conferences to attend, organizations to join. It's not an all-out guide. We still have the book coming out on how to get your first job as in dermatology for nurse practitioners. That'll be a hardback book or hard copy book. It'll have everything in there. But for right now, just to keep you from being overwhelmed and having to Google your life away, I just created this quick starter kit so you can get started and kind of start building your presence in the industry and building up your CV so you can start creating some traction in terms of experience and knowledge and to show your commitment to the specialty. So yeah, if you make a purchase, please be so kind as to go back and leave a review. The newest one is the newest edition, is the From Bedside to Dermatology, Step-by-Step Guide for Nurses. Both of these are digital downloads that you can download immediately, on your phone or on your computer. Virtual Preceptors named my Etsy shop. And this book is over 70 pages long. It has everything from still organizations to join, but the emphasis here is a step by step. So I show you an example and give you a guidance on how to create a dermatology focused CV. We get There's live job announcements in there. Talk to you about the experience that they're looking for, what you should do what you should be doing now to prepare to meet the qualifications of those announcements. Scripts on how to ask for shadowing opportunities, whether it's in person or virtually. Um, what else is in there? How to maximize your wherever you are, whatever setting you're in. And so whether that's like acute care, in the OR, the ED, whether you're an LPN, RN, or NP, how you can take where you are right now and start getting that experience. Well, how do you know what experience to get, what to ask for, right? Because you are going to have to ask for some of these experiences. How to create. So let's start with that. How to get these experiences. And so in the book, I provide information on the competencies and the scopes and standards, so the competencies include actual diagnoses and procedures that are highly recommended that you'll need to do in that field. Talk about certification. Yeah, so it's full of information in there. There's actually a whole article on the Mahogany Dermatology blog about it. Let me add that so that you can learn more. And I break down the book for you. But this came from you all. I had no plans to write this book, and your questions inspired that. Same with the Dermatology Nurse Practitioner Starter Kit. So keep sending in your questions so that we can find out how we can best support you. And so we'll put that up. The blog is already up, so I'll put the link in the description box, and you can read that. You can visit the virtual preceptor shop and download your copy today. And let me know how, if you find it helpful. That's really important. So the Melanin Initiative Podcast, this week we had our first panel of a physician, an NP, and a PA. The doctor is Dr. Constance Foreman. She's out of North Carolina. We met over the summer, and she came with the idea of doing like an open panel discussion, talking about our respective roles, both our education, our training, misconceptions in the public, misconceptions amongst ourselves and our peers. And so it was a really fascinating conversation. Really happy that it was able to get pulled off to get all these busy people on here at one time. So we have Dr. Constance Foreman. She's a family medicine MD. Myself as an adult gerontology nurse practitioner. And even Dr. Foreman is an entrepreneur too. And then we had Dr. I have so many names. Shiloh Reyes. She's a physician associate, also out in North Carolina, also in family medicine, just like me, has her first bachelor's in biology. So this was a second degree career choice for her. And she's phenomenal. We met over the summer, and we've been trying to work on a project. And when this panel came up, I thought she'd be perfect to share her experience. And she did not disappoint. She's a really great speaker, and she has such a great backstory. And so she was great. And then we were joined by Tanae, who's a friend of my family. She's a young lady who's right there at the beginning of her career, trying to decide which path to take. And so she joined us from Boston. And so it was a delight to just be able to provide this opportunity for her to ask direct questions to people who are where she's thinking about. I just couldn't. I'm just so thrilled it happened. It was an hour and a half conversation. Like I said, we talked about our education, our training, our misconceptions, our perspectives on the future. Yeah, and then we offered some mentoring and guidance to Tanae live, and so that was wonderful. That'll be our first episode in the new year, so certainly follow so that you can be notified when that comes out. And then today we dropped another 73 question series with Sade M. She started off as a CNA, then she was an LPN for like 4 or 5 years, and she just graduated from her bachelor's program. And she's in the ICU now. I met her over the summer. We filmed just a few days shy of her starting her first job in the ICU. She's in a residency right now. And after talking to her during that interview, just really impressed with her background and her presence. And so from that, I invited her to be the guest star of our new series, Becoming an ICU Nurse, which she agreed to. And so I wanted to give her some time to actually get into her residency and to get some experience there so she can share with us what that beginning is like. So she'll come back. We'll invite her back at the end of every semester in conjunction with our students. And we'll hear how she's been doing. So if you don't know, we already have a series going on becoming a doctor of nursing practice with Demetrius Kirk. He's in his last year of his DNP program. And then he also started off as a CNA. And he took, in terms of his graduate education, he's in the leadership track, not the MP track. And we have Becoming a Physician with Clarence Sams from New York, currently in California at Charles Drew, which is a historically Black university. He's the first cohort, I want to say, and he is the founder of their dermatology interest group there. He spent the summer at Stanford. His dad was a nurse his late father was a nurse practitioner, and phenomenal. He also agreed to mentor live over his last episode with Chanel, who's a student at Norfolk State who wants to be a dermatologist. So that was a really great episode. Also, let's put that here. So it was a really insightful one. I think you might find helpful. He gave really great advice. And it's a good look into what mentoring can look like, especially if you've never done it, either as a mentee or a mentor. There's really no, one way to do it. It's like any relationship, it's going to be based on the two people who are in that partnership. But I have created a guide in the virtual preceptor shop, specifically breaking down the needs of the bachelor student, the master's, and the doctorate student, so that, well, as a student, it can give you an idea of what to expect, what kind of support to ask for. And for the mentor, it also gives you an idea of what, in particular, the needs are of the student at that time in their academic journey. There's a bunch of scripts for setting up mentors, finding them, and a bunch of questions and prompts to guide conversations so you'll know how to answer the questions that are likely going to come from potential preceptors, mentors, employers, about who you are, where you're trying to go, how your visions align, and what you're bringing to the table. We can tell you that, and you might freeze up and say, I don't know how to answer those questions. But by going through this mentorship guide, you will be prompted on how to answer those questions, what to look for, how to prepare for those conversations, because people want to know that when they invest in you, that it's going to be worth it, and that you're serious about what you want to do. So the DMV Dermatology and PPA group, we had our second meet and greet. This is our fall meet and greet right here in National Harbor. It was sponsored by Sun Pharma, where we learned about ruxolitinib for the treatment of alopecia areata. It was a fabulous evening, delicious food, great company, really, really great questions from the people who came. Saw some people who came the first time. We met a lot of new faces. I didn't get a group photo until the end, and by then some people had already left, and so I'll have to do better about that next time. So I did snap some of us who were at the end. That includes our speakers, Yasmin and Augustine. and then some of our guests, attendees. And so that was really great. Our next event will be Friendsgiving in Old Town Alexandria, November 21st at 7 p.m. We have our speaker, and we're just trying to get our sponsor together. We have a long list of options, and so we're going to finalize that and we'll share that with you. But that's the date. The link is in the description box to join our email notification list. When you click on that link, you can put that you want to attend the Friendsgiving, and then we'll add you to that list. And once we pick the venue, we'll email everyone with the name of that venue. When you fill out the list, you will be asked to provide your medical information or student enrollment. And as long as we're able to verify everything, then you'll receive that email about the actual name of the restaurant. Our meet and greets in Richmond and Blacksburg, Virginia are underway. Our MSL is just shy of coming back from maternity leave. And so it looks like we'll be planning those in November. And so right now we're finalizing the dates and the venue options, and we'll keep you posted on that. In the meantime, we need those groups to grow so that when the RSVP is available, we have people who can RSVP. Let's see. Oh, and then we have our sister group, our Durham MPs and PAs of Atlanta. So your advisor for Blacksburg is Caleb. Your advisor in Richmond is Derek, and your advisor in Atlanta is Allie. She's a nursing student who has expressed interest in being part of dermatology, looking for community. And so through that conversation, we came with this idea to start a sister group. So we're in the process of setting up that Facebook page so you can all join there. We'll create an email notification list so you can join that if you don't want to be on Facebook. And certainly when we start creating events, that will be the link you use to sign up for events. I'm just waiting for her to pick the logo. Once she picks the logo, we'll finish decorating the Facebook page and we'll be able to invite you over. And then I'll come back and update this description box with that link. If I forget, just remind me. I hope I remember. And so I think that's it for that. Let's see here. And so if you don't know, we have our new partnership, our first partnership with NP Hub. We offer 100% discount for students who sign up to get a preceptor. And then if you want to be a preceptor who gets paid, you can go through our link, which I need to add. And you'll get paid to precept. You do have to go through an interview process. It's not just you sign up and you automatically do that. So they do have to do some verification of you as well. Make sure you're a good fit for the company and their mission. So working through nursing school. This starts at 42. I'm going to put this in the description box. So, if you think you're not going to have enough to talk about, I don't know about that. So working through nursing school, I did it, but I didn't have I had a tutoring job. So I was really flexible schedule, and I was a Zumba instructor, again, very flexible schedule. And I tutored both in the community, and on campus. And so it worked for me. In my cohort, most people didn't work, and usually the recommendation is not to work because of the demanding schedule that you need to both attend class, clinical, and study. That's the big one. Because you have PowerPoints, you have textbooks, you have resources, the stuff you're learning in clinic, preparing for clinic, and so it's intense. But we did have a few students who needed to work, and that's always going to be the case. My mentee who's graduating in December, she has had to work this entire time. And so one way to offset this, right, because most of the time you're doing it for money. So let's talk about money. And this kind of goes into what I was going to dedicate a whole show to was, if we tell students, kids, they need to go to college, right? The assumption is that you're going to go to college, you're going to pick a good program, good degree. That good degree is going to get you a good job. The assumption is that good job then affords you enough money to pay off the loan, to buy a home, to afford the cost of living wherever you are, to have an emergency fund, a savings, invest, and live below your means. Uh, that's lofty, right? And so one of the places to start with is helping people have that, creating multiple streams of income, and focusing more on creating assets as opposed to debts and liabilities from the get-go. So if in the beginning, this student hasn't been working, they haven't been volunteering, they haven't been in the community, helping out and building up a resume, life experience that they can talk about in their personal essays, that can give them insight into career options, one way or the other, things they like or don't like, then whatever decision they're making, it's coming out of nowhere. And they should be more informed. And so I'm more of a proponent of letting them get that experience. So let's say you want to be a healthcare, you want to be a nurse, you want to be a nurse practitioner, you want to be a nurse leader, nurse educator, chief nursing officer, entrepreneur, whatever it is. You want to get into healthcare, you want to see what it's like. Well, look in your school, especially if you're getting out early. Maybe you can get a certificate while you're home. um, and a lot of the certificate programs are pretty short, right? Maybe 3 months, 6 months, pretty short compared to some other things that take years and that require experience before you can even apply. So there might be a prereq, and sometimes there's no prereqs, which is great if you're in high school. So now you get this job. Now you can actually start to make money. You can learn money management. You can build a savings. You can start to pay for things and get a sense of what it's like to be an adult. And you can get a job, like a nice job. So now you have this job that you work in the summer, you work on your breaks, maybe you work it on the weekend. Certainly, if you're only in school a couple hours of the day, you can work during the day. And now you are adding to your resume, you're adding to your life experience. And hopefully, you're working for a company that can now pay for some of your schooling. So now you're going to take that money and your experience is going to influence your decision. Do I want to keep doing this? What direction do I want to go? Now they can pay for you to go back to school. So now if they're paying for you to go back, and so ideally what it would be nice is maybe you're working and maybe you're also doing some like general ed stuff. Maybe you do that for 2 years. So maybe if you find like a patient care tech or CNA program, I don't know how long they are. Maybe there's 6 weeks or something. But I do have it in my How to Be a Nurse eBook. In the virtual preceptor shop, it compares all the different tracks and all the different lengths of each program. But let's say it's 6 months. So you do 6 months of that, you graduate high school, now you're out in the world working. Then you take the next 2 years to finish your prerequisites. So now you have work experience, you have money coming from your employer to pay for school, and you're more informed, you're more confident, you're more mature, you're more disciplined than your other freshman peers or even some of the sophomores. And you could be using some of this money, especially if you're still living at home and keeping your expenses low, or maybe your parents are supporting you with some of those expenses. Then you can start building up your understanding of financial literacy, which should be one of the classes you're taking anyway. Just basic finances. Certainly, business doesn't help. Economics doesn't hurt. Economics, and depending on your school, they might have some really interesting classes out. So you will work, get them to pay for it. And so now you're saving. Hopefully, you're having some savings and you can identify a number that would be your emergency fund. You build up your emergency fund, that's there, you don't touch it. Once that's done, now you can build up the next part to start saving for your down payment on a home. You're going to be learning about loans for first-time homeowners, and you're going to see what the qualifications are to meet those requirements. And that's your first goal, is to reach that, get your first home, which should be an investment property. Whether you live there or not, it doesn't matter. You can house hack it. So you can rent out the other rooms. And now those people are paying for the mortgage. You take your money, continue to build, invest in get in a brokerage account, start investing in index funds, spread your money across certain industries so you're more well, at that point, you're young. You could be more risk averse. I mean, riskier in your investments. So certainly, it's a great time to get a financial advisor, learn how to identify a good one for you, and they can be a huge asset at this point in your career. So when it's your birthday, holidays that you celebrate, that people give you gifts, this is what you want assistance with. Now you've got your emergency fund, you have some savings, you have a brokerage account where you're investing, and now you're on your way to getting your first investment property, your first real estate property. That's all set. You're still working through school, and now you can continue through your education. You've obtained some more skills, and you can go on your way. So while you're working through school, it's tough. It's really going to be tough. You have to be really disciplined. You have to ask for the support of your loved ones. Sometimes you have to tell them at the beginning of the semester, I'm not available, right? Some people you really won't be able to talk to till the semester is over. Some people you will be able to. And when you're with them, you should really be present. What I always like to do is by the time I went back to school, I had like a lot of seniority on the unit. So whatever schedule I want, I pretty much got it. But if you go to your manager and you talk to them, a lot of times they're going to be pretty supportive. So the schedule I had that worked out really well was Sunday through Tuesday because it met my weekend requirement, and I already worked nights, so I didn't really have to worry about the night requirement. But if you do, that's one way you could get it done. And by working nights, I was able to get first dibs on the schedule too. So that was another thing that caught my interest, in addition to just getting paid more and it being less stressful. I didn't study at work, but it is an option if you want it. Um, and so I would always take off in the beginning of the semester, like a week. Either I would take off or I would set it so that I would work the front part of one week and the end of another week and have that whole time to get a calendar, mark out all the dates of when assignments are due, when exams are, and reminders for myself the week before so I could, would make sure I was prepared for those. And then as soon as everything becomes live, go in there, read the syllabus, start working on stuff so you can get ahead as opposed to trying to catch up. In my experience, trying to catch up was always a lesson for failure. And then another time in the semester, maybe some middle part of the semester when there's like midterm exams, I would do another kind of break like that. And then certainly at the end when there is like finals. Because spring break doesn't really exist. It exists on the calendar, but in real life, it's going to be a chance for you to either play that catch-up game or try to get ahead and start working on those final assignments and studying for the finals. So when you can set your schedule like that from every hour, when am I going to wake up? How long is it going to take? So this is how my mind works. If I'm going to wake up at 6, it's going to take me 30 minutes to, brush my teeth, wash my face. I don't really have to do my hair, but if you have to do your hair, that might be longer. Floss, put on my sunscreen. Let's say that's 30 minutes. Take my vitamins. Then I walk the dog for 30 minutes. Then we're back. Feed the dog. Make breakfast. Now it might be 8:30. Then I'm going to work out. That's going to take 60 minutes. Cool down. Now we're at 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm going to check email. At this point, my email takes a long time, but back then it didn't take that long. So maybe by 11, I'm studying. I'm going to study from here to there. And this is what I'm going to do on Monday. On Tuesday, it's going to be like this. So no matter what day or what week, if someone says, what are you going to do on a Wednesday at 3 p.m., I already know the answer to that, right? And if I don't know Wednesday at 3 p.m., if I don't know on November 21st, what am I doing? But I know November 21st is a Thursday. I was like, well, on Thursdays, I always have live sessions with my class. So I will know I won't be available for that. So when you have that kind of scheduling and you're disciplined about it, it can work. I think the main thing when it comes to working through school is hopefully you're getting something out of it, like them helping you pay for school. 2, your family is really supportive and understanding of that. They're helping where they can. You're honest about what you can and can't do, because I know for me, maybe if I'm working 3 in a row, maybe I'm not doing a lot of cleaning those 3 days, but certainly when the 3 days are over, I'm doing my part of the housework. And then when I do catch up with family and friends, it's probably on breaks, and then, really being present for those opportunities. And maybe there's some things that just have to go on the back burner until their semester is over. Certainly, weddings, parties, birthdays, showers, all those kind of things you might have to pass if you're working and going to school. Relationships are tough. If you haven't started one, it's advisable not to start one. Uh, but if you do, just know it's going to be something else that takes up time that you could be using to study or preparing for class. And as long as you understand that and you're fine with that, then that's fine too. And then just relaxing your goals. Most people, I know a lot of nurses come in and they were like the top of their class, really super smart, and always made A's. And maybe at this point, you might have to relax your goals a little bit, because B's are not bad. B's are still good. And that might be the best you can do given the demands that you have. Because some people do have to work. I know many people, nurses have had to work because they have children. Sometimes they're the breadwinner. Lots of nurses have paid for their children to go to college out of pocket. Some people have made that bargain with their partner or spouse. Like I agreed that I would only do 2 years because my partner wants to go to law school, and we know that, or go to med school, and we know that that's going to take X amount of time. And we're also trying to, have children, and so people looking at a timeline, and so that it might just be the only choice they have. So yes, it can be done. It is stressful, but just be very strategic about how you're managing that. Um, yeah. So I think. Oh yes. So the last thing, as the title suggests, I've created the Mahogany Telederm internship. So I talked a little bit here, but I have created a business. It's called Mahogany Telederm. It's a telehealth practice, an NP-run telehealth practice specializing in common dermatological diseases. The plan is to finally open next year, and so in the meantime, I want your help. So you'll help me build the business, and I can help you get exposure, um, and help grow your CV and your interest in dermatology. So that application will go live on October 1st. It will close. I have a date. I think it's like within the first 2 weeks of December. This is a nurse internship, any nursing program. So let's talk about the qualifications, the requirements. So you do have to be a nurse in nursing program in good standing, any nursing program. Um, you'll need to provide 3 letters, professional letters of recommendation. The main things that we'll be focusing on are building the business as well as publishing articles. If you want to have any impact in your practice in this industry, it's my belief that you need to be involved in publication, policy, and curriculum. Through Mahogany Telederm, we will be addressing gaps in patient care, medical education, and research. And so you'll see that in this internship. So you will, because a lot of the focus is going to be on publications, researching the latest literature, summarizing that information and disseminating it. Part of the application will be submitting some of your work. And so if you haven't already written anything, you will need, in dermatology, you will need to submit an essay with that meet certain criteria so that I can see what your work looks like. And you don't have to be a pro. If you need help crafting that, that's totally fine. All the applicants who submit their work, if they wish, we can, and even if they don't, get accepted, then we'll put it up. We can put on the Mahogany Dermatology blog. You can have your first article out there. We're going to be accepting 2 applicants, one from the United States and one from Africa. I think that's the main features. That, like I said, that will go live on October 1st. It will have the full instructions for you. Certainly, you can hit me up if you have questions or need guidance or help putting together your application. But I'm super excited about this, super excited to be working with 2 of you, to have this opportunity to share what I'm learning as I learn it. We can learn together. And does this give you an exposure to the industry, and help you get that experience that we're always talking about. So really, really excited about that. I think that's going to wrap us up for today. I see we have a guest. Certainly say hello in the comments. Let us know that you're here. Everything that I mentioned today will be in the description box. Remember that Diversity in Dermatology, we have our conference next year in Louisville, Kentucky, voted one of the #1 places to visit by Travel and Leisure this year. We have 4 days of really interesting exciting topic. Our agenda went live this week. We have free workshops in dermoscopy, uh, surgery and aesthetics. You have to pick one of the three. Each day is going to be broken down from hair loss to professional series to how to become a great writer. We're actually going to go live on IG soon talking all about the agenda. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That link's in the description box. The registration's open for the conference. And DMPs of Color, same thing. Their conference is coming up. Our conference is coming up in October, the week of DMP week every year. This year, we're going to be in the city of brotherly love. And we have a gala too, our sneaker gala. This week, we had one of our, I think that's quarterly. But anyway, we'll call it quarterly for now. We have a quarterly member only or orientation. And that's where the founder, CEO, and the queen, Dr. Danielle McCamey, as well as her board, goes through the mission and vision of the organization, why it was the inspiration for it, and certainly the goal. And then we go through all the current initiatives we have, how every member can get involved, our partnerships, our plans for the future. And so we had one of those meetings this week. It was phenomenal. We went through all the different committees that we have and how people can get involved. There's 2 ways you can get involved. If you don't have a lot of time, but you want to be involved, you can be part of an interest group. But then if you have more time, you want to be considered, or you can be part of the core group, which requires a 2-year commitment. We have a list of a collection of committees: research committee, programming, social media and marketing, governance, fundraising and finance, and then diversity, equity, inclusion, anti-racism, and advocacy. I'm going to be joining the interest group for research. And then if we have a speaker series you can sign up for, which I want to sign up for, start doing a lot more speaking next year and some CE events. And then we have, we've partnered with Ghana DNA. They're actually going to be going to Ghana in January. And so Ghana DNA stands for Ghanaian Diaspora Nursing Alliance, their annual conference. So that group in particular, they're going to Ghana now, but the plan is to go to a bunch of different countries moving forward, January 3rd to the 3rd to the 5th. I'm actually planning a friends and family reunion to Ghana. So I'm going to look at these resources. They're going to be on my list of options for us. But that's an exciting partnership. I wish I would have known about it before so that I could have just joined them. I wouldn't have to do any planning. But yeah, we'll be working on that. So that's going on. That's what's going on at DMPs of Color and everything else. So I thank you for joining. I'll be back again next Sunday at 3 p.m. Let me just make sure. So this is the end of September. Yeah, so next Sunday, I'll see you here at 3 p.m. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe so you can be notified when I go live. Like I said, if you're not a nurse, an NP, or interested in dermatology, but you know somebody who is, please share this information with them. Let me know how I can best support them or find someone who might be a better fit. I think that's all I have. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.